हाय गाइस एंड वेलकम टू आवर मोस्ट स्पेशल वीडियो जिसको हम हमें खुद को बेसब्री से इंतजार था एंड आई एम श्योर आप लोग भी वेट कर रहे थे. सो इन दिस वीडियो वी आर गोइंग टू एनालाइज आवर मोस्ट फेवरेट टीम दैट वी आर रूटिंग फॉर. एंड इफ यू हैव नॉट गेस्ड इट ऑलरेडी, इट्स आवर इंडिया, द होस्ट फॉर दिस वर्ल्ड कप. So before we get into the video, I would like to say if you're liking our content, please show us your love and support by liking, commenting, subscribing. And if you have any feedback, if you want us to do something different, do something in a better way, please let us know. You can check our channel and all the content that has been posted. And just to let you remind you that we have been posting our fantasy recommendations every night before the match day. So please go through them so that आप लोग उस हिसाब से अपना fantasy team बना पाओ. And we wish that you earn a lot of points and a lot of prize money through that. So coming back to the topic of today's video, uh, as I said, we will go through our Indian cricket team and we'll see how they stack up against the other teams that we have analyzed in the tournament. So the first thing would be, what would be your quick thoughts about the team, how the team has stepped up in the recent times and given their current performance and all those things? What would be your quick thoughts?
So
I
Satam, before I get to the team, I think a big acid test for the one day format. This World Cup is actually a big acid test for that, and the success of how India does in this World Cup would go to dictate how the ODI format happens to evolve in the future. Because being a home World Cup, a lot of sponsors have put their monies assuming that we get a lot of eyeballs. But if India doesn't do too well, then it might raise question marks on the viability of the format itself. So that's something which is going to be a very crucial part of this World Cup in how India
Right,
performs,
right.
and that's why I'm hoping that just for that at least India ends up doing well and going all the way.
Excellent. And we have observed in the first few matches, the stadiums are mostly empty.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I I just have one starting comment to make. इंडिया की बात हो रही है, हम ब्लू में बैठे हैं. सत्तम, आप क्या कर रहे हो?
I am just, I mean, India का पहला मैच ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अगेंस्ट है ना, so I'm just having some representation for Australia.
You are being a good host.
Yeah, right.
अच्छा,
So
no, I
ये
think
भी actually एक important point है, कि because India is incidentally the host also. So उस हिसाब से क्या लगता है, मतलब कुछ home advantage होगा, something like 2011.
home advantage India definitely has. Most of the stadium that India will play in, I think will be suited to Indian strengths. I don't, however, see a lot of pitches being square turner, but I think largely they'll suit India. And of course, you can never discount the home crowd support. Crowd will be crazy for India matches. As Akshay was saying, कि शुरुआत के मैचेस में इतना ज्यादा क्राउड नहीं दिखा है अभी तक. सो फॉर इंडिया मैचेस आई थिंक पीपल विल टर्न अप एंड दैट क्राउड सपोर्ट विल बी आवर 12th प्लेयर इन द टीम. तो वो है. बट आई थिंक व्हाट नेगेट्स दैट home advantage to some extent is the fact that most of the people, most of the players have experience of playing in Indian conditions. काफी लोगों ने IPL में participate किया and they have played well. Most of the leading players for at least the top nations, they have set IPL on fire at various stages, so they know what the conditions are. तो वो थोड़ा negate करेगा, but I still think home advantage will play a massive role.
So Akshay, recently we had a few of the big names coming back from injury, say Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, Bumrah, and हमने देखा भी एशिया कप में उन्होंने अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है. सो ओवरऑल कैसा लग रहा है, मतलब डू यू थिंक द ग्रुप इज गेटिंग इनटू गुड शेप एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द बॉक्सेस सीम टू बी टिक्ड?
एक महीने पहले अगर ये पूछते तो आई वुड हैव हैड अ वेरी डिफरेंट ओपिनियन. Just before the Asia Cup started, I was actually very skeptical of India's chances of reaching the semi-finals also because of the way they were performing in West Indies, a lot of options being tried out. It seemed like the combination of 11 players is still not very clear, and the management is still looking for getting their middle order right, the bowling combinations right. But suddenly, after the Asia Cup, I think the things have changed drastically. A very, very dominant show by the Indian team. Every player, like literally every player, contributing to the victory, right from the openers, middle order, lower middle order, bowlers, spin department, everyone coming to the party. So with that kind of a background, and then coming back to India, playing against Australia, an extremely dominant show in the first two games. Again, like the middle order firing, KL Rahul scoring runs, Shreyas Iyer scoring runs. Kohli missed out on the first two matches against Australia. In fact, he missed all three matches against Australia. But Kohli will be coming back, and come big matches, Kohli is or has been our go-to man. This could be his swan song. So you
Mhm.
expect him to come good as well. So in general, I think the entire Indian team is currently in a great spirit. They have got the template right, and it seems like they are going to be a team to beat. Really optimistic about India's chances this time.
Perfect, perfect. Sumit, I think there is a lot of expectation on the Indian team, mostly because of their recent performance, and also because they are playing in front of the home crowd. So, उससे कितना फर्क पड़ सकता है टीम को?
uh, I think it works in a positive way. The crowd support, it motivates the team, it encourages them to play better. But I think the weight of expectations, I think every individual does feel it. Our players are professionals. Once they enter the ground, they know what their job is. And I think this is what they prepare for, right? This is like the ultimate representation for your country, playing at the World Cup. And these are the best players that we have in India right now. So I think they'll use it as motivation कि home crowd के सामने खेल रहे हैं. And of course, I think while only Ashwin and Kohli were part of the 2011 campaign, they'll have those happy memories or happy associations कि the last time a World Cup was played in India, India did win it, right? And in fact, that was the first time a home country won. And Australia and England followed suit in 2015 and 19. So I think the Indian team will want to use it as a positive motivation. कि होम क्राउड का जो सपोर्ट है एंड द क्राउड विल कीप cheering them on, irrespective of like what the on-field performances look like. I'm sure they'll look great, but I think the crowd will be in great spirits.
Right, right, right. So, I mean, till now we have been mostly talking about the positives. ऐसा कुछ है जो थोड़ा सा टेंशन का रीजन हो सकता है? There any chinks in the armor?
I think India has a well-rounded team, probably the most settled or probably the most balanced team. But the two biggest issues that I see, which India will have to address at some point of time. First, I think has been discussed a lot. Who plays the number 8 role, right? Incidentally, we have Ashwin in the 15, which I think is a good move. To have an off spinner, it sort of completes the bowling attack, and Ashwin is no mug with the bat. He is a proper batsman if required. So the number 8 and then the tail that follows 9, 10, 11, unfortunately, none of them are recognized batsmen or recognized batters who can help you win games with their batting ability. So that is a bit of a concern in case if India do lose early wickets. That's one. The second is a minor issue, I think, which is it's a very right hand top 6 or top 7 with the Jadeja at 7, right? So all top 6 as of now. I haven't included Ishan Kishan in my first playing 11, but it's all right-handed. So it is slightly easier for teams to have matchups against them. And that's where India, I think, will need to be a bit flexible because, again, Jaddu is has actually tremendously improved his returns on batting, right? So वो थोड़ा ऊपर आ सकता है just to counter matchups if required, but I think those are only two challenges, of which while the left-hander remains an issue, I'm not too particularly concerned. India will figure a way out of it, but batting depth, I think, might become a concern, especially if it goes close in the knockouts.
Yeah, and I think I have been maintaining this all throughout. See, because a lot of these players have been playing T20 regularly, and if they come into the ODI with that mindset, uh, it will be very difficult for teams to bat out 50 overs. हमने पहले मैच में भी देखा था, England barely managed to bat 50 overs, but and they have probably the strongest batting lineup. So that's why I think later middle order का काफी important role रहेगा इसमें. Akshay, any thoughts on who do you think will be a standout performer जिसको हम expect नहीं कर रहे हैं, मतलब maybe someone like Shubham Gill expected to some extent, Kohli expected, ऐसा कोई है जो unexpected star performer बन सकता है, can grab the opportunity with both hands?
I think I wouldn't call this guy as an unexpected star performer, but I don't think he gets enough credit for what he has been doing for Indian cricket recently. So I would talk about Mohammad Siraj. Siraj, while he performed exceptionally well in the Asia Cup final, and that would be the closest memory a lot of fans would have about him. But if you look at his history over the past 3-4 years, he has evolved as a new ball bowler as well as a death bowler. He can get the ball to swing in, get it to move out. He has an excellent reverse swinging delivery as well. So he brings in a lot of variety to the Indian lineup. And to pip someone like Mohammad Shami to become your frontline bowler in your first 11 is itself a big achievement, and that makes him special. And I think he's going to be one standout guy who might just even pip Jasprit Bumrah to end with more number of wickets than him.
I
I
have
think that's a very
I have
bold
one
prediction.
more contender, and again will fall in the almost similar category. Is Kuldeep Yadav? I think he has reinvented himself like anything, and as of today, I think he is probably the best spinner in the world. With his changed lineup, he comes straighter, has more body into the bowling, and the way he's been bowling for the last probably a year or so, or year and a half, I think it's just phenomenal return to form for Kuldeep Yadav. And for fans of Indian cricket, I think it's just a pure delight to watch Kuldeep Yadav bowl. And I actually have high hopes. I'm torn between Siraj and Kuldeep as the top wicket taker because I suspect teams will play out Jasprit Bumrah. They know what a threat he can be, so
They will prepare for it.
they are likely to play him out, and which is where I think the role of a Siraj and Kuldeep Yadav becomes even more critical for us to break through partnerships, take wickets.
Okay. So one last question before we move on to the first 11. What are the topmost thing we should guard against? Like something that looks very, very risky or is a serious threat to the team?
I think early
Check.
momentum. Early momentum is what India should be guarded against. If firstly, again, it's too early to say how the World Cup starts. Let's say hypothetically India has a great start, wins the first few matches. What happens as a result of that, and we saw that in 2019, if you have a smooth ride in the first few matches or in the initial part of the tournament, the team which doesn't, the part of your team which doesn't get tested is something which gets a bit rusty. And in crunch moments, that is what might just pull you back a bit. I hope that India has close games and wins those, just like we had in 2011, where I don't think India played to their potential in the group stages. They barely they barely defeated a team like West Indies. Also, they scored just 250, and then they were struggling at one point of time against West Indies. So I would probably want India to win such matches, then have a ride like the one that they had in 2019, so that when they reach the semi-finals and the knockouts, the entire team is pretty warmed up to that big stage.
In fact, I think even 2015 was a similar story where almost every team, I think we had bowled them out in the group stages, and then semis turned out the other way around. The other thing I'm slightly like I would be concerned about is the travel. I think India is the only team who is playing each match on a different stadium. India is actually visiting 9 different grounds. So the travel will be a bit hectic for Indian players, and I'm pretty sure the support staff and the administrators will take proper care. But I think travel is something that the Indian players will need to be on guard against. And as Akshay was saying, let India have close games and come through. Okay, that also helps us guard against complacency. On form, India looks like like the team to beat. Just guard against complacency.
Okay, perfect. So I just have a couple of matchups for you. So I will mention the names of two players, and you have to quickly tell me which one will be in your first 11. I'll start with the easy one. Ishan or Rahul?
Rahul.
Akshay?
A month ago, I would have said Kishan, but now it's Rahul.
I said it's an easy one. The second one, Shami versus Siraj.
Siraj.
Okay, great. I
have
Shardul Thakur versus.
Acha, हाँ,
Okay.
ठीक है.
Shardul
Sky
Thakur
versus
versus.
Shreyas.
Yeah, that was my last one. That's the most difficult one. But yeah, we can go with it.
So Shardul versus Ashwin, I think I'll go with Ashwin.
I will go with Ashwin.
So now the
I
most
think
difficult one.
he's just a better
Sky
batsman,
versus.
a far reliable bowler.
Yeah. And now Sky versus IR.
I think all of India will be divided on that question. It's difficult to have an answer to that, but I think it completely depends on how the games go. I think the Indian management should try and keep it fluid, then be fixated on one option over the other. That's what India did in the 2011 World Cup as well, where Yusuf Pathan, Suresh Raina, and were not regulars in every match that India started. So that could be something which India could think about, where in certain games you might play Iyer, in certain games you might play Sky. But if you ask me if I have to pick one in every single game, then I would prefer Sky, just for the kind of impact that he would have. Like, he might not give you a 50-run innings in every single match, but out of the 9 matches that India has to play, even if he plays one or two of them in in his style, I think that will be worth his value in the team.
Right. Okay, I agree. It's a difficult choice, and I think it's better to go with the situation. Like some matches we will need the consolidator, some matches we will need the finisher, and good that I mean, to some extent both Iyer and Sky can do either. I mean, one does the other one better. So I mean, probably Iyer is more of a consolidator.
Yeah.
And Sky is more of a finisher. So
I think
we'll just have to see how.
I think it will also depend on how the team management approaches, because if the top order is in really good form, Rohit and Gill have actually been a tremendous opening partnership for us, and of course there's King Kohli at number 3. If these three stick true to their strength, their form, then I think India can take a punt with Surya at probably number 6, do a finisher's role, because that is one what do you say, gap that India does have right now, because Hardik hasn't been his typical self. He is not setting like while he's batting, he's not tearing apart attacks. He is taking some time to get started and then move into top gear. So you need someone who can just go all guns blazing from ball one. I think like we know that, not I think, we know that Sky can do that. If top
Mm.
order is in form, I would recommend go with Sky. But if there's a case for batting depth or ensuring solidity in batting, I think Shreyas is a better consolidator, better anchor for the innings.
Right. Okay, so now I think we'll finish with our choice for the first 11. Mm, so, and either of you can
I think
start.
it's a clear starter. Like Gill and Sharma would start. Kohli at number three. There's no question about that. KL would make it at number four. Hardik
Right.
maybe five or six, but let's say Hardik goes at five. So these five slots are guaranteed for sure. Then sixth spot, let's keep it a question mark. Seventh would be Jadeja. Eighth, again a question mark. Ninth is Kuldeep. 10th is Siraj. 10th is Bumrah, and 11th is Siraj. So I think 9 out of 11 select themselves. The two spots which are up for grabs. It's either Iyer or Sky or Shardul or Ashwin. To the Shardul versus Ashwin question, while I'll prefer Ashwin myself, but again, I'll go by the conditions. In Chennai, in Lucknow, hands down, it will be Ashwin. In flat conditions, probably like a Kolkata, a Dharamshala, Ahmedabad. Again, Ahmedabad may not be, but Kolkata, Dharamshala, Mumbai, I would probably go with Shardul. So that's my Shardul versus Ashwin take. Sky, I think we had a discussion. So my personal preference would be Sky, irrespective of how our top order performs, because if he gets going, I think he is that guy who would drive his form throughout the tournament. But again, it depends on how the team management thinks. Like my personal preference would be Sky.
I so very similar to what Akshay said. 9 out of 11 pick themselves. Between Sky versus Shreyas, we just had that discussion. It depends on how the top order goes. For Ashwin versus Thakur, my view is if Hardik is able to give consistently 6 to 7 overs, play the third seamers role really well, which is what he did in the Asia Cup as well. I think we can go with Ashwin across all the matches, irrespective of the conditions or the pitch, anything. Ashwin is a guy who can take conditions out of the equation, and he can do both the roles, the containing role as well as give the wicket taking option.
The only problem with that, Sumit, would be the fragile body of Hardik Pandya. Like you wouldn't want to stretch him too much in the early part of
And
the
we don't have
tournament.
a
While he
match.
might give you great overs, like he might give you 5 to 8 overs in every
Hmm.
single game, but you wouldn't want him to get injured because I don't think we have a replacement for him.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There is
uh,
no replacement for
uh,
Hardik.
and that's why I think at least earlier in the tournament, it would make sense to be a little conservative while using Hardik and protect him for the latter half of the tournament, where he might give you much more number of overs than he would give at the start of the tournament.
Makes sense. Like I think he's been preparing for this World Cup. Even in IPL, he mentioned that he is like looking to improve his bowling workload. If his body is able to manage, we should like try and do like help him as much as possible. But yes, if there's a risk of injury, even the slightest hint, I think we should play conservative at least in the initial stages before we get to the business end of the tournament.
Right. Okay, so very quickly, where do you see India finishing?
You want to go first, Sumit?
I think India is in a really good shape to make it to the top four. I will be genuinely surprised if India does not make it to the top four. On form, India, I think, are probably the best team in the tournament. So top four for me, I think we should do. Beyond that, I think it's basically whosoever day it is, right? One player can take away the match. So top four is what I will leave it at.
I would avoid jinxing. I am extremely optimistic about India's chances, but I would not give my opinion because I'm afraid that I might just jinx their chances.
Okay. So I think that's it from us today. So finger crossed and bleed blue.